Mills.
All right, we got it going.
All right.
I'm
good.
sorry, it took me a minute.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRica.com. Boy, do we have a story for you guys. This story is going to be about insurance, CAJA, veterans, the Navy, emergencies, near-death experiences, and all of it. So it's going to get a little complicated. We'll try to keep it somewhat simple a little bit so people can understand it. But we're going to be talking to Tim. Tim just got out of the hospital, and does he have a story for you? And we're also a big part of this, a major piece of this story, is my guru, Johnny, my medical guy. You've heard me talk about him before. I've done videos with him. And before we get, you know what? I'm not going to say this at the end. If you need anything medical in Costa Rica, whether it's implants, dental stuff, liposuction, augmentation, stem cell therapy, whatever, go to our site. There's a question there, and it'll go right to him. All right? Yes, that was a shameless plug, but after this story, you're going to understand that Johnny deserves it. So anyway, I want to thank Tim for coming, talking to us, especially out of recovery. And Johnny, well, I guess. Hey, Jesus. You know. All right, so we're gonna start this by how it all started, and it started by an email from Tim's daughter, and I think you'll see how. Well, you'll see. Word for word, not paraphrasing. I need help. I have an emergency! Explanation point, explanation point, explanation point. I watch your channel for updates since my parents are living in Costa Rica as perpetual tourists. Now again, if you don't know what perpetual tourist is, people that leave every 90 days, they're not residents here, but you can do that. I have friends that I did it for 12 years. I've had friends that do it for 15, 20, but they live here, but they leave every 90 days, passport stamp. That's a perpetual tourist. My dad is retired military, has Medicare and TRICARE. He fell and busted his knee and needs replacement. He doesn't have the CAJA. Now, the CAJA is a socialized medicine here. If you're a resident or a citizen of Costa Rica, you pay into the socialized medicine that they have here, and that's called the CAJA. You're going to hear that word again. She doesn't have the CAJA. No, wait, sorry. Where am I at? Where am I at, damn it? Oh, he doesn't have the CAJA, but is married to a Costa Rican, but she's really not aware of the CAJA system because she's been living in the United States for so long and didn't know how the CAJA system worked. Doctors are charging them lots of money and can't do surgery till 14 days from now, and he can't leave the hospital. Do you know any military person that could guide me with this? Does my mom's CAJA cover him? I am so lost. He can't talk because he is drugged up. I am a mess here. That's the email I got, okay? Now, I probably could answer those questions maybe, but I don't feel very comfortable, but I did feel comfortable. I didn't actually answer her, but I saw the email when it came in pretty quick. And so I said, well, I know somebody that can answer that. So I forwarded it, and all I said was, Johnny, can you help? I didn't know this at the time, but minutes later, he wrote her back, okay? Now, before we get started in kind of what happened, I want to talk to Tim for a second and go and just get a little base information. You are retired military.
Correct.
From the Navy.
Navy.
Right? 20 years?
20 years.
Actually,
in submarines.
both these guys are veterans, which was part of the whole thing, I think. Were you Navy?
I was
Yes, Navy too.
Ah, okay. I see where this is all going now. Okay, so how long have you lived in Costa Rica?
3.5 years.
But we were talking earlier, and you said you've been coming
For 30-some years.
and your wife is Ticas, yeah, Costa Rican. So, where did you go when you came here? Always San Jose?
No. We went to, we had a house in San Jose, but we had it rented out after we went back to the States. I got her back to the States. So we always came down to usually Tileran. Dos de Tileran is where her dad had a cattle ranch. 200 Brahman cattle, and he herded them all the time. And we would always come there for like a month at a time.
Okay.
That's where we usually came.
So just real quick, what happened? I mean, you fell, right? And so how that, just a quick process of falling, and how'd you end up in that great hospital in Liberia.
Yeah. So, what happened was we were going to, on the Dia de los Muertos.
Are you going to speak Spanish?
No, we were going to go visit her cousin. So we pull into her cousin's driveway, and the back end of my car hits the ground. I said, okay. So I got out of the car, went to the back of the car, and it turns out that the car was parked. The back of it was parked right over a drainage ditch. Not a ditch, but a drainage.
Like the gutter?
Gutter, like a gutter. So in the gutter, because it's been raining so much, was a green slime. So my first foot missed it, but my second foot, the left, it didn't. So it went out from under me, and then my other foot, the right foot, I'm not like this. My right foot goes like this instead of like this. It goes like this, and now it's being, my whole body weight, which is a lot, is being held up by this leg, which is twisted wrong.
Honey, we have a problem.
Yes. So I yelled, Maritza, several times. So I had to push it back front with my other hand to get it normal, and I fell down.
So how was your experience from, you got an ambulance, right?
Right.
Was it the ambulance there quick?
Yeah, pretty quick. The people in the house called the ambulance. I'd say within 2 minutes. The ambulance from the clinic, which is like 5 minutes away. But it was quick. The ambulance got there like right away.
So the clinic isn't the same as Liberia Hospital. This is
No.
two different places, right?
This
So
is
you
a-
obviously went to the clinic,
First.
and then how long before you went to Liberia's hospital?
So I'm in the clinic for probably half an hour. They were evaluating whether they could take x-rays, whether it could be set, with a cast, or whether it had to be operated. And they finally decided, after it's all said and done, that I really needed to go to Liberia, to the hospital, because there they could do everything.
More specialized, whatever they needed to do there, I guess?
More
Well,
machines.
I guess that's not true. We'll find out
More-
about that a little bit.
More machines, more tests, better doctors, etc. So
Okay, so now we're caught up. Now Johnny's going to kind of work us through the problems and kind of what your daughters wrote me for. So she writes me, she gets a hold of Johnny. So okay, start this out and where's the problem? What are the problems now? I'm assuming one is because he's in Liberia.
That's one. A lot of times when you're dealing with a situation like this, every step that you take is important, and when it's an emergency, especially when you have certain types of insurances, you need to do certain things first. So when he went to that urgent care, it should have been emergency all the way, but it should have been directly to a carrier within his network. Like,
You mean the veterans, the TRICARE?
right, correct. He should have gone to a TRICARE or an authorized within the network, which in this country is La Biblica and SEMA. So he should have gone there first. But if you don't know, you don't know.
but you don't know.
So how did CAJA, they didn't really, how did that become an option, a possible option?
Well, because by default here, everybody's going to go to the CAJA because that's the first line for Costa Ricans and for anybody.
Like even a tourist that breaks his leg on the waterfall? Or
Correct.
whatever?
It's going to go, they're going to take them straight there. Unless you specifically ask to go to a private facility.
All right, let's go with the CAJA piece of this first. What are those problems? Okay, and particularly in his case, do they have it? Is he under it? How's this all going?
Well, first of all, he can have it being married to a tika, but at the time, Tim is not in part of the system because he's still going through the process. But since he's in the process, they're going to take him. But what happens in the CAJA, it's about it's insurance, who's being insured and who's being taken care of. In his case, it's an emergency.
But just real quick, so his wife, if she had the CAJA, that's not good enough.
No.
And he would have to be literally under it, written in as a spouse or
Correct.
something.
He'd be, and he's not at that moment. At that moment, he's an uninsured person going to a social medicine here in Costa Rica, just like anybody
And he's
else.
really kind of a tourist in this. He's almost treated more like a
just
tourist, right?
just like a tourist. There is no priority unless you're absolutely dying.
How long was the CAJA thing even chatted about?
In his case, before I was able to talk with him, it was 5 days.
Now, I think we should note that he was not in a very good hospital. Could I say that or not?
Well, we have to say it in the sense of they have the ability to take care of him. But what happens is that not all hospitals have specialists on site. They're going from site to site to do work. In his particular condition, the specialist wasn't available and wasn't scheduled to be for another 10 to 15 days.
And since they classify it as not really an emergency, he's basically sitting there and they're sucking up money. No?
Yeah, and Tim, I think you could talk to him about what they were sucking up in your case.
Yeah, they basically, I think to answer one question is they considered me stable at that point. I had a fracture, but I wasn't losing blood. I wasn't in any kind of extreme, life-threatening situation. So they basically let me sit there until the specialist would become available. So I actually met him the first time, the fourth day that I was there.
But that life-threatening thing can kind of change by sitting in the hospital doing nothing.
Well,
Can you comment to that? Or
Yeah, exactly. Well, in most hospitals, and especially in these hospitals, there's a high concentration of bacteria and things that can form. So
Because it's a hospital.
it's a hospital, yes. So, and in his case, there's thrombosis. There's a lot of things that can happen. Him having a knee that's been replaced and a prosthetic, there's an increased chance for this to happen. So every day that he's there, not to include all the trauma he's doing, he started. If you allow me, talk a little bit about what you're going through. He had some kidney issues. He was starting to have some kidney issues, and that's a big indication of things that are even getting more worse. And he was getting worse and worse each day. His hoarse voice that he has now is actually a very big improvement from what we had before. I could barely understand him. So he was going downhill very fast.
Okay, so I want to make sure everyone understands this. So the CAJA really wasn't an option, but he's waiting for 14 days. So you know what I mean? So if the CAJA is really not an option, he's stabilized, waiting for a doctor. Now who's paying? Where is this at? You see what I'm saying? So he doesn't
Well,
have the CAJA necessarily.
I'll answer that part. We were sitting there, and I knew this because my wife had asked the office at Liberia, how much are we paying? What's this going to cost me till everything's per day while we're sitting here waiting? And it turns out they told her it was going to cost $1,000 a night, if I can say that.
Yep.
It was going to cost $1,000 a
It's all
night.
about truth here, man. We don't.
Plus any extra exams you get, x-rays, and the CAT scans that I had done. That's out of pocket. Anything extra besides your food, rest, and whatever is yours that you have to pay when you leave.
So when surgery happens, that's out of pocket?
That's out of pocket.
That's out of pocket too. And they said that at that time it was $15,000 for the surgery.
So you got at least 14,000 waiting because it's almost like a hotel roomish kind of thing, and then the surgery, let's say 15, you're up to 30,000 when that just doesn't seem something's
Yeah.
wrong here, no?
So-
Okay, well let's
And you just to finish
Oh,
this,
go ahead, yeah.
you have 5 days. They'll tell you have 5 days to pay it before they'll issue you a court date or a investigation. They'll start telling you have to pay it.
What do you mean an investigation?
It's
They file whatever.
It's like small claims, but they
Okay.
they file it against you, so you're a bad debt, They get you, you know what, see how many properties you have, what you're going to do
Okay,
to take
okay.
care of the debt.
Yeah.
All
they
right,
start-
so since this really wasn't where we wanted to go, and he is a veteran, so and he has insurance, so I think this is where you kind of step in big time. Okay.
Okay,
you-
so what we do then is that we take in all this information, but keep in mind, but when you're in a public hospital here, they're not obligated to give you your medical records. It might sound a little crazy, but that's the policy.
You
here.
don't own your records.
You don't own your records here. So, in order for TRICARE to start taking care of this, they needed information. They needed to talk to the doctors. They needed to understand what condition it is so we can get them moved.
So you're on the phone with them in the United States, basically.
Yes, we're on the phone with them for 5 days.
So how did all? What was the issue? You couldn't. Okay, the records. How'd that happen?
A little angel gave us.
Somebody helped you.
Some of us helped us.
We're not gonna disclose that.
No, it was help, but
And just so you know, my wife is Costa Rican. Even she could not get my records.
Yeah, I see. It's hard for people
Yes.
that don't live here to understand some of these things because we're, in the United States, here's your records. Don't forget to take your X-rays. It's almost the opposite approach in a sense.
Yeah, it really is.
But that was key for TRICARE to start helping. Now, keep in mind, these are 2 hospitals that are in network.
Okay, when you say remember, in network means they take his insurance.
His insurance, yes.
Okay.
Now, the hospitals were in network, but his insurance, the way it's laid out, you have to pay up front. So he has insurance, they're able to take it, but he's still going to SEMA or going to the Biblica. He would have to pay this surgery up front.
All
Okay,
the
wait.
expenses,
We haven't
actually.
got to SEMA yet. We're still in Liberia, and you're still working this on. Are we still at?
Hey, yep, we can go back to Liberia.
No, are we still at Liberia?
Okay.
No. So you're talking. I don't know the.
So I apologize. The Liberia, what happened is now we have to force his exit in Liberia to get him treatment because now I have him approved through TRICARE after 5 days of working with them to get him moved from Liberia to SEMA. Now,
Let's just SEMA is a hospital that you would have in the United States, but it's in Costa Rica.
Yes.
correct.
Absolutely.
Now we're also removing him from Liberia in an ambulance. It was 5 hours that we did.
Yes.
About 5 hours with a 3-hour wait because the ambulance was late. So it was a little bit longer. We get him in to SEMA, and thank goodness we had him pre-approved, but it took 5 days to get that.
Okay,
far.
but I can just. So did he end up having to pay out of pocket before he, like you just said, you said his policy states that he pays up front and then they're going to reimburse you. Is that how it happened?
No, I was able to talk to the TRICARE in Pennsylvania, and after 5 days,
You got to be more aggressive in the influence that you actually have in Costa Rica and the things that you can get done, Johnny.
okay, we had 5 days.
I made this happen, damn it.
Well, you know what? It wasn't just me. It was you, Mike. It was his daughter. It was a doctor that was involved. There was a lot of people, so it wasn't
The
just
stars definitely were aligning. There's just no doubt about it. From
Oh, yeah.
your daughter to him to the person that you got the records from, that was a huge help because nothing could have happened if you didn't get
No,
those, right?
the records in this particular case were the most important. But the thing is that they were actually useful to be able to get him out. Now, when we finally got him there, the key thing of this is that if we would have got him first, even to SEMA first, they wouldn't have accepted him right away because of the fact the way TRICARE for retired veterans works outside the country, you have to pay out of pocket. And
Oh, just on his policy, or that would be anybody.
Anybody. It would be
Anybody.
anybody. It doesn't. So a veteran that's active duty is automatic that they pay.
It's kind of like move to the head of the line. This is he's
Correct. But a retired vet with 20 years, he has to wait. He has to out of pocket to get his service.
okay. So he's in SEMA, but what we were talking about earlier, it sounded like let's just go through that real quick because that was real quick, right?
That was he was able to get there. He was brought in the ambulance the night before. He was in surgery by the afternoon.
The next day.
The next day.
Yes.
No 14-day wait.
Less than 24 hours after arrival at the hospital, I was being operated on.
What were you thinking about all this? How were you thinking of, like, when you were in Liberia? Did you know what was kind of going on? Did you know that you were maybe in the best hospital? Was there anything going on around you that, I mean, did you have a private room? Were you getting fed on time? You know what I mean? Did you feel good about
Well, I was being fed. We were in.
Sorry, I didn't mean it quite like that. But
In
yeah.
Liberia, there's a ward. So we had one ward of all men with broken bones, and there was one across the hall. So there's two. There were about 10 beds in each room, so 20 beds of men.
Just
with,
waiting,
with
basically.
fractures.
Waiting.
Yes. And it turns out, one piece of information I forgot to tell you, I was 23rd on the list for the operation, by the way. That's why they were saying 10 to 15 days.
See, I've lived in Costa Rica 16 years. They might have said between 5 and 15 days. That could have easily been. Did we tell you 15 days, Tim? We meant 25.
Costa Rica doesn't say. Costa Rica in 10 days.
Right.
It's about anywhere from 10 to 30 days.
And remember, guys, we're talking a minimum of $1,000 a day to wait.
Bingo.
But you can't leave, right? What if he was he was stable and it was like, can he wait like at a hotel across the street? You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't work that way. He had to sign. His wife had to go get a signed release for him to be able to leave. But I didn't want to move him until we had a place for him to go. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree, but I was just wondering about, like, could somebody with one of those broken bones, 23rd on the list, go across the street, stay in a hotel, and then go to their...
You get out. You're immediately taken out of line,
and you're done.
and you start over again.
Nice. I like that system. It'd make a lot of money just hoteling it.
To answer one of your previous questions, I was on, I don't know what, it wasn't pain medicine, but I was on some kind of medicine that I had no clue, not no clue, but I was kind of in and out of, not consciousness, just in and out of clarity.
Good word.
Because my daughter talked to me several times, and I couldn't even remember the password to get into my computer. That's how I just couldn't remember stuff.
So they just try to make the wait seem fun.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the pain, the fracture.
So when did you get...
I don't know.
How long were you in SEMA? You got the surgery, so how long were you there?
I was there from the 9th to the 16th
And then,
of November.
So, you just got back, basically. This is
Yes.
all very new.
So Mike, he got operated the day after. He was there for observation and for physical therapy. But keep in mind, I'm going to take you back to Liberia for a second. His wife can only go visit him twice a day. Okay?
True.
All right. So that means that she can come in for 15 minutes in the morning and in the afternoon to visit him. And that's it.
Okay. Maybe we don't want to go to Liberia for the most part.
Well,
okay, let's move. You know, I'm glad this all worked out in the end. It sounds like it would have been a little bit stressful to me. With maybe even, I mean, your family obviously was probably even a little bit more stressed in a sense.
We're stating right now is, were you basically saying that because of the difference of SEMA?
Yeah.
Okay, are you going to explain that later? Or?
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
SEMA now, my wife, the room costs half as much as Liberia. And it's like,
Yeah, and
A
SEMA's
private
supposed
room.
to be the,
Well,
the super expensive hospital.
it's a private room. She had her own bed in the room, which came under the cost of the room. Now we had to pay for her food, of course, but she was covered in the room 24/7 with me.
which is
at SEMA.
Which is nice to have somebody,
It's awesome.
All right, so I want to move into a little bit. Okay, it's great. You're recovering. You seem to be doing pretty good. And this could be another video, but just let's briefly go over some of how this could have maybe been done better if we knew things. You know what I mean? If he would have known more, because a lot of us are like that. We're down here, we don't know every little thing. We don't know some of these things. Like, you know what I mean? You know the question?
All right. Okay.
So what's a couple
so
things?
ideally, in a situation like this, if you're a retired veteran, you have TRICARE, and you have a situation here, or you have another insurance. The first things that you have to do is that if it's a true emergency, go to a private facility that it'll be covered. Now, when you're doing that, you have to take these things into consideration. Does your carrier cover you in this country? Is there coverage? What amount of coverage? And then, God forbid that they don't take care of your coverage, that you have another means of paying. And what I mean by other means of paying is a credit card or another policy. Because if Tim would have had the traveler's insurance that a lot of people don't like getting, Mike.
Right.
That traveler's,
I don't need that.
You don't need that. That traveler's insurance would have taken care of Tim in the situation without going through any of this. Why? Because the traveler insurance is not just about COVID. It's about if you had an accident. In his case, although he had a pre-existing condition, he broke his leg. That's an emergency. That's covered under this insurance.
So, like as a veteran, let's say before you come down here, you probably would want to do a little bit of your homework and see maybe what hospitals take that. Or
Correct. And it's a small amount, but also do your homework. If you are a person that needs to be closer to facilities, don't live in a faraway place in the beaches. They don't have enough facilities or that would be able to take care of you. In his case, he was lucky enough that we were able to get him into an ambulance, but it's not always available.
Well, that's why a lot of people pick the Central Valley. I mean, for that very reason, you're kind of semi-close.
You're semi-close to it. So, to Mike, to answer your question, people need to do their homework. They need to be aware and pay the few $100s.
It sounds like you need a supplemental.
You have to have a supplemental
Right.
insurance or a supplemental plan or a backup plan, not to leave yourself. They're just going to take it. This is not the U.S. This is not the way things are done here, and you have to be prepared for yourself. Not for somebody selling insurance or anything. It's for you to be safe.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad this all worked out. I'm going to keep saying this. The stars aligned, man. There's 5 people that almost don't know each other, really, and it all worked.
Yes.
I love it when it works.
Me too.
Hey,
Trust me.
Tim, man. Thanks a
Me
lot
too.
for sharing the story, man. I appreciate
welcome.
it. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else? Is there anything else we need to say? I can't think of anything.
I think
Mike.
It's okay. We're impromptu.
Okay.
Hey guys, if there's something you didn't understand, because we know this is a complicated, we're talking CAJA and socialized medicine and private insurance and stuff. If you have questions, man, again, just go to my website, fill out the form. Johnny will talk to you. Johnny will answer your questions. Or if you need medical or dental, you want to come down for a fun vacation and get your implants, fill out the form and Johnny will get a hold of you, man. He's a good guy. And this is why we're doing this story. So this is a shout out to Johnny. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to give one other plug, if I may.
Give a plug. We're doing plugs.
It'll be short. I think I can do short. When I got to SEMA, okay, every nurse, person at Limpy cleans the floors, that transports you to one room and to another, that doctors, everybody said, "Excuse me, can I help you? Is there something else I can do for you?" All the time. Every time they converse with you. Contrary to that, in Liberia, you ask for something, it may be 3 hours later, even a glass of water. They never say thank you. They never say excuse me. Nothing. It's just a different class of institution.
Professionalism.
Yes.
You know,
it really
I
is.
think the bigger thing on that, it's kind of nice to feel like a person, you
It
know?
is.
And when you don't get treated like a person, you feel like just another like cog in the wheel.
But I was shocked. I was shocked at the total disparity between the two locations of how they treat people. I really was.
I wish I could say I was, but I've lived here long. I know too many stories, so I'm actually not surprised. I'm sorry you had to learn that the hard way, but
Mike, it's bedside manner as a doctor,
Right.
as a physician. We should all do it together, regardless if it's socialized medicine or private medicine. They should adapt to help people and know that they're there because they have a need, and to take that in consideration.
it doesn't cost anything to be nice.
No.
You know?
And I have one example of me at SEMA, and I'll just make a plug. They're the best at doing that, at courtesy. They really are.
Well, I'm glad you had a good
Seems
experience.
really
I'm
good.
glad, man. This is so great. This happy ending. I love this. All right, man. You heard it. I'm Michael Allen, TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Peace, guys. Hey, things are going to pop up. If you're thinking about living or traveling anywhere, do your homework and research. And I'm telling you, there's no place. I'm going to put my videos up against anybody's. You guys would agree, wouldn't you?
Yes.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.